Hello there, Internet. My name is Mogwai, and ahead of us lies yet another brilliant day in the arena. As today, we're going to be showcasing Frog's High IQ Edition, as we got not the Frog deck that you would possibly expect. We have a Simic Frog ramp build right here, designed around the Virtue of Knowledge, a 5-mana enchantment. It's an adventure. It does have Vantress Vision incorporated into it, but we're going to focus on the enchantment first. The enchantment says, if a permanent entering causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. This, for newer players, this may seem a little bit confusing, but for those of you who've watched prior videos of mine, this is the exact same effect as Elish Norn, Mother of Machines. She has more text, though, because she denies opposing permanents from, their effects triggering upon entry. But the effect is fundamentally the same, and we can run a strategy centered around this without incorporating the color white by running the Virtue of Knowledge. And what we have, like I said, is a ramp deck. So ramp decks in general sacrifice speed for power. So if you have a ramp deck, it doesn't mean that your curve has to be extremely greedy, but it does mean that you are playing towards something that should overwhelm or defeat your opponent. Whatever it is they're doing, what you're going to be able to do is going to be stronger. That's the whole point of, utilizing ramp tools to get to those higher priced plays earlier. And that's the concept that we're founding this list on. We essentially are incorporating some frogs here with strong upon entry effects because we have, yes, an upon entry effect centric deck. I'm doing a lot of that. There's a lot of that within Bloom Barrow as an expansion, and I love, I love blanky shit. Yeah, you can't judge me for it. I get off, okay, on triggering that. That sounds really bad, but I really like it. let's settle it there. And this is a strategy that was extremely fun to implement. And yeah, what is the win condition, right? So I'm talking about all this. We're ramping towards something that's going to overwhelm the opponent. What are we doing with this deck specifically to do that? Well, we have the Gruff Triplets as our win condition. A 4 of this non-legendary creature, so we can have multiple copies of it on the board. A 6-mana 3/3 with Trample. Whenever the Gruff Triplets enters, if it isn't a token, create 2 tokens that are copies of it. When Gruff Triplet dies, put a number of +1/+1 counters on each Gruff Triplet, like the tokens included, equal to the power and toughness, or actually for the power, of the Gruff Triplet. So basically, English, if you play this and one of the tokens or the original one dies, then every single other one is going to get 3 +1/+1 counters, right? So the triplets dying will enhance your overall power, and because they have trample, this is a card that if it gets going, the opponent just, unless they board wipe you, they will not be able to keep up with the power output you're generating. So we take a long time to apply pressure, but once we do, we end the game very quickly. So the combo here is playing Virtue of Knowledge on turn 5, or the setup rather, and then playing Gruff Triplets on 6. That would allow Gruff Triplets to trigger the upon entry effect twice, which means you won't end up with the original in 2 tokens. You'll end up with the original in 4 tokens. So a total of 5 quintuplets, rather, will be on the board, and that will be the beginning of the end for the opponent. So how do we get here? Well, we got ramp. What are our sources of ramp? We have 2. Our main one is the Clifftop Lookout, a 3-mana 1/2 with reach. Whenever it enters, you reveal cards from the top of your library until you find a land, and then you play it onto the battlefield tapped, and you put everything else at the bottom of the library. This happens in Arena instantly. Like, you don't have to search through your deck or anything. Like, this happens automatically, in case you're wondering, which is really neat. You don't have to put the extra effort in, and I appreciate that. And this is the main source for that. But we're also running a couple of copies of Glimpse the Core because we have a total of 4 forests within the deck. So having 2 copies of this gives us an extra resource for ramp in case we don't happen to draw the Clifftop Lookout. So we can ideally develop the Virtue of Knowledge by turn 4 and then play the triplets by turn 5. That really makes a big difference, and that's what we're aiming for. But as a ramp deck, naturally, we are vulnerable to aggression. And we have an amazing answer for that on turn 4 if we go for Glimpse the Core on turn 2, potentially on turn 3, and that is the Dream Dew English, Entrancer, a 4-mana Simic Frog Wizard with a 3/4 stat line and reach that has an ability that says when it enters, tap up to 1 target creature and put 3 stun counters on it. Fun fact, you can target a creature that's already tapped and apply the counters onto it anyways, in case you're wondering. If you control that creature, draw 2 cards. So one of the cool things is because we have some cheap frogs here in Pawn Prophet and Clifftop Lookout, we can develop this and tap one of them to draw 2 cards. If we have Virtue of Knowledge on the board, we can repeat this process, target the same creature that we already tapped, and apply even more stun counters onto it to draw 2 cards off of it again. So we benefit from the synergy with Virtue of Knowledge. Naturally, Virtue of Knowledge also works really well with the Clifftop Lookout because we get to search for 2 lands instead of 1. And with the Pawn Prophet, we get to draw a card. With Virtue of Knowledge, we get to draw 2 cards. So all of our frogs have upon entry effects that synergize with Virtue of Knowledge. And that includes the one-off of Sky Skipper Duo that we have here. Expensive but reliable here, as it allows us to exile one of our creatures and bring it back. With Virtue of Knowledge, we can exile 2 of them and bring it back, and then when we bring them back, both of them will be proccing their upon entry effects twice. So the snowballing potential in that regard is very real. So with the Dream Drew, I keep calling this Dream Drew. I'm gonna call him Drew. So when you play Drew, you can shut down the opponent's aggressing, like basically tapping something and putting 3 stun counters on it will nullify it as an offensive presence for a long time, and by then you will have been able to build up your own board and defend against it. So it does kind of act as removal, which is really neat. But in more reactive matchups where they're not really applying pressure, we can use it to draw cards. And the flexibility within the card, the stat line being just good enough alongside the reach, makes this an exceptional card for this kind of deck. As then we need protection against early aggression, and Dream Do with Entrancer. I can't. Again, Drew. I just cannot pronounce his name. I swear to God, it's just like really weird for me. Drew here comes in a little bit late. And because he comes in a little bit late, we need some extra resources to be able to deal with threats, and also shut down some creatures that have really strong ongoing like abilities. That we won't really be able to shut down with an effect like Drew's. So in order to do that, we run 3 copies of Eaten by Piranhas. Because we are not running anything besides blue and green, our ability to deal with creatures is less efficient overall. And because due to the low power of our early plays, including our Gruff triplets until they get buffed, we don't really have a creature base that can justify us running removal like Hard-Hitting Question. We just do not have the power to capitalize off of that. So instead, we run Eaten by Piranhas, which can shut down something like a Sheoldred the Apocalypse, for example. Like that's a very good example of a card that Drew here will not be able to deal with the tapping effect. So being able to just take away all abilities and everything about a creature and just turn it into a 1/1 at flash speed, so at instant speed, it makes this card extremely vital for this kind of deck because, again, we need to stay alive until we get to do our thing, and we need to add components that help us do that. We have a full set of 3 Steps Ahead. 3 Steps Ahead provides us counter spell. It is mainly used as a counter spell to protect us from board wipes and key plays that could, overcome what we're doing. Especially in control-based matchups is really important, but what's really good about 3 Steps Ahead is that we can also make really good use of the second option as well, creating a token that's a copy of target artifact or creature we control. We can use it to create a copy of the Dream Do Entrancer, aka Drew. We can make it to we can use it to make a copy of Clifftop Lookout or even Sky Skipper Duo as well, and trigger the upon entry effect alongside Virtue of Knowledge. 3 Steps Ahead can also just be used to draw cards as well. Like the flexibility of this card is really neat, but having a counter spell with a deck that just goes so tall in regards to power level, but needs to be able to protect against key spells that could potentially undo everything we did. Some decks have access to that is really, really important, which is why we're running 3 Steps Ahead as a full set here. And then we have the Splash Portal as a 4 of as well. This card is really neat with the frogs. Naturally, we can use it onto a frog and then exile it and bring it back, draw a card because it's a frog, but then also re-trigger these upon entry effects. With Virtue of Knowledge on the board, we get to trigger them twice. which is just great. And there's more. We can use Splash Portal onto Gruff Triplets, the original one. Also, if important to know, do not use the second ability from 3 steps ahead onto Gruff Triplets. It does not work, because if you read the effect there, it has to be a non-token that spawns. If it's a token that spawns, it won't trigger this ability, so keep that in mind. But we can use Splash Portal on the original Glush Triplet, and we can bring it back onto the board. Again, with Virtue of Knowledge, that means we get to proc it twice. For 1 mana, we get to generate 4 of them, which is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And then we have a mana base trying to, really maximize our sources of blue and green, while also utilizing Cavern of Souls to make sure that we can play our frogs or the Satyr Warrior here as well, and not have it countered in a control matchup. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the deck list right there. It's really fun. It's perhaps, like I said, not a take on frogs that you were expected to see. Like, there's a lot of people trying frogs, just putting in all the frogs and bouncing them and getting all the +1/+1 counters. But I wanted to try something a little bit different, and I really like cards like these 2 frogs particularly. I really like. Like, they're just very good in a vacuum. And they just function really well. And I think Drew here can really shine in a bunch of like slower decks as a way to halt the opponent while also enabling card draw for you as well. It's very neat. And it's just fun, man. I got to play a deck with a full set of Virtue of Knowledge, and it put in the work. I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for daily Magic the Gathering content. Leave a like, share the video. Our views are a little bit under, which makes sense. We transitioned from Marvel Snap, and the algorithm is really heavy on us, man. The algorithm is really punishing the channel. And, if you can share the videos and help us reach a little bit further, I would really appreciate it. And regardless, I appreciate your support and you being here. And hopefully you're enjoying the content. If there's anything I can do better, let me know as well. And I'll aim to improve every time. So, yeah, love you. Have a solid day. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for daily MTG Arena content. Hope you enjoy the games. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, here we go. Let's showcase them the power of amphibian knowledge. That concept is kind of weird, but I think there's just like there's so much potential to like building these kind of decks with like the frog bounce base. And we got a hand that's a little bit sus with double Virtue of Knowledge. 3 steps ahead is a 2 of... I think I have to mulligan here. I'm happy I did. But now I have to get rid of something. And I think it's going to have to be the Splash Portal, even though we can use it with the Pawn Profit. I value having my lands more. And being able to ramp that Virtue of Knowledge. We got to show them that knowledge. It always sucks to mulligan on the very first turn. When you're going first, I mean, on the very first turn. When you're going first, it's really... It is annoying to have to mulligan because... your card draw is just less. But we seem to be curving out just fine. We don't have to glimpse the core immediately. I think developing the Pawn Profit and enhancing our options. Oh, Jesus. If I sack these 2 lands and I... Nah, I gotta discard this. And I'm going to keep that there. The 3 steps ahead will be enabled next turn. Another Bandit's Talent, I could just discard one of the Virtues of Knowledge. Once I get these Virtues of Knowledge on the board, if it's just like mono black, they really won't be able to deal with them. There's another one. This time we do discard one of them. And now we develop the Hedge Maze. We surveil again, but this time we preserve the counterspell. because we cannot let them get another discard effect going through. Especially not one of that nature. They're just gonna level it up though. Okay. This is an enchantment that I face quite a bit at this point. There's a cut down, and that's fine. I want to get that Virtue of Knowledge in, because now when we top deck our 6-drop, our Satyr Warrior, we'll be able to just go absolutely crazy on him. Having this Virtue of Knowledge is essential, right? Like, we're facing a discard deck that is missing some lands, but that also means that they have a lot of things to do. They just keep leveling up, though. Oh, baby! Oh, what a top deck. Oh, yeah. And that's game. You can attack my hand all you want, boy. You're done. You're done. You are so done. Well, that's what the deck is about. You know, we didn't really get to showcase much of the frog stuff, but that's what Game 2 is for. Alright. We both got the same avatar. Mine probably is not really appropriate, but I don't have the frog yet, so you know. Don't judge me too harshly. We have a pretty decent hand here. Can lead off with the Restless Vinestalk. I want to lead off with this because I want to make use of the Surveil later, when I'm more knowledgeable of like what I need. Like, do I need lands or do I need other stuff, right? I'm gonna develop this island and I'm gonna play the Pawn Prophet. We'll draw us a card upon entry. We get a Dream Dew and Transfer. Next turn is probably the turn to develop the Hedge Maze here, as they go double Fairy Dream Thief. They've already surveilled a swamp here. They don't surveil there. We are worried about a Gix. But the Clifftop Lookout makes me change my plans, because if they do play Gix, they cannot, I mean, unless they have like a cut down there. Cut down into land into Gix. But I'm not gonna worry too much about that. I'm just gonna do this. I have reach. It seems like they do have cut down. Hopefully it's not cut down into Gix. You've got to be kidding me. You cut down the Prophet? Okay. So they did actually have exactly that. But I do get to, you know, block that for free, essentially. I kind of want to play the Sky Skipper duo, but I'd rather play it on the Gruff triplets, right? I think this may be the turn to Dream, Do, and Hint, and Transfer. And keep these two in the back. Both of them have reach. Both of them can trade into the Fairy Dream Thief. If they manage to clear both of my creatures, they would be able to attack with Gix anyways. Okay, so there's a go for the throat. Do they have more removal? They do. They have all the removal. Alright. Alright, fair. I'm gonna go with you. Sometimes it's just that simple, man. I had a great time. That was so fun, man. Yeah, this bug is still going on. Like, there's ever since they updated the client, like I can no longer check the graveyards whenever it's like not my turn, or even in this case. Like normally I would be able to look at the graveyard and evaluate the match, but you know, Arena like is broken right now in that regard, and it's kind of annoying. Hopefully they fix that soon. But yeah, we just went with the Gruff triplets on 6, and this is such a strong play. It's kind of wild that they had exactly everything, but they still misused the first cut down, which would have allowed them to push a lot more like draw. Like that was a pretty big blunder by them. And I don't know if they even read this card to begin with. I think that's why they kind of conceded, because they just don't read, and they kill it. And yeah, I'm all for that. Let's go for another one. ASD. What you bringing in? Because I got a pretty decent hand here. I have Hedge Maze turn 1 into Pawn Profit, and I can potentially bounce that. I'm going to keep that land because we are going to need to ramp or curve to 5. Develop the Pawn Profit. We do have the ability to Splash Portal it next turn if it sticks around, as it seems that we're facing Orzhov life gain. Right now we have no removal though, as they play the Valley Rotcaller. It's a bit of a threatening drop for them, but it is a manageable one at that. I could Virtue of Knowledge to draw a card here, but I'm going to draw 2 cards. I could Virtue of Knowledge to chain and draw like a total of 3 cards. But there are other things I could pick up instead that could allow me to deal with this threat. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go for this. Splash Portal, bounce the Pawn Profit, draw a card, and then draw a card off of the Profit as well, as we can do it again. But I kind of would like to preserve this for when I develop the Gruff triplets, no? Though to be fair, I think drawing now is important. Just having those options. And then I discard a card. A Virtue of Knowledge, since I already have one in hand, and I can make use of all these others. And hold back. We're taking a lot of damage here, but now we have the counterspell open. Oh shit. Just as they play the Cavern of Souls. Oh no, that's brutal. Put a +1/+1 counter on target, on each creature target player controls. And I'm gonna go ahead and counter that. I'm going to play the Virtue of Knowledge now. I'm going to take a big hit here. Hopefully it's not that big. That's manageable. That's manageable. The problem is they have to lose life in order for this. But if they lose life, if they manage to lose life, this could fly over and kill me. But I can't do anything about that. I have to play this. I have to play Gruff triplets, and I have to hope that I don't die this turn. There's Akhlazotz. I repeat, there is Akhlazotz. Whoa. I'm not sure you should have done that. They pass over the counters to that. But we got 27 here. We got 27 here. Is there anything we could do? Yeah. We have to swing. Wow, that is insanely greedy. We had no way of doing anything about that. We have Skyscraper Duo, but what we have to do is we have to play the Clifftop Lookout with the Reach. And we have to keep the counter spell open. That's the only way. We have to keep the 3 steps ahead open. Not even a counter spell. We could even just go for the effect to copy this. Like, this Aclazaz does not have trample. I repeat, it does not have trample. I'm gonna discard you. And I'm gonna block with my Reach. Keep us alive! Oh my goodness. Okay, so now... Okay, let's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. I can do this with counterspell backup, so that's fine. We just gotta make sure that we prevent Season of Loss. Each player sacrifices a creature. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Beautiful. Let's get it. Let's go. Oh, they thought they had us. They thought they had us with the Season of Loss. But we're just 3 steps ahead, baby. That's essentially what this deck worked towards. Virtue of Knowledge into Gruff Triplets equals profit. I'm really surprised that they attacked with that bat earlier. I mean, obviously they wanted to pass over the stats to this, but they just enabled absolute insanity. Like, you just do not want to kill. That's one of the downsides of this deck is sometimes I wish I had black so that I could actually sack the Gruff Triplets in the middle of like the combat and set up these nasty lethals, but turns out it's just, you know, if you generate enough copies, like the opponent won't be able to ignore them anyways. But that was pretty neat. All right, 3 in a row. Let's go. Grisor will be our 4th opponent. We have double ramp, which means we lead off with the island. Eaten by Piranhas can also help us against early aggression, but it seems like we may be facing some form of Azorius. I'm gonna go with the Glimpse the Court. Search for one of them forests. Get it onto the board, get that ramp going. Capitalize on under the slow niche. Okay. We get that frog in there. Let's get another island. And we're already going to be going to 6. Even though we don't have many ways to capitalize. They play a face-down card. Not what I was expecting. I want to go for the Splash Portal, though. Which will allow me to draw a card, but also ramp. Get rid of that forest on top. We are drawing a few too many lands. Get Cavern of Souls in. Call it a turn. I don't know what that face down card is. We see a Braided Net. I think I'd like to counter that while drawing. Make use of that, get rid of that, and actually pick up some cards here. Let's drop the Botanical Sanctum. We need to find our pieces. We're gonna take that damage. We're just gonna keep making use of this ramp. I very much like that demolition field. Let's attack first, get that damage through, and then play you. Dream, do, and transfer. I'm gonna target my own creature, so I draw 2 cards. Oh, nice. And then I'm gonna go with the frog again. I'm gonna play demolition field. And I call it a turn. Keep ramping. We have the Sky Skipper duo now. We want to find that virtue of knowledge. Okay, thank goodness we have the counter to that. I think this is why we run stuff like Eaten by Piranhas. Absolutely essential. There we go. Okay, so let's look through this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right now, I don't want to play into like a board wipe. Wait. I need to think this through. Like, I think I need to attack first. And then I need to tap these. I need to tap my lands appropriately. As we draw 2 cards. There's the virtue of knowledge. I'm worried about them being able to deal with the enchantment. Maybe I should have just maybe I should have just played the Gruff triplets. Because Elish Norn just completely halts us. And now this Elish Norn not having an answer to it is a big problem. I need to find another Feed the Piranhas. If I cannot find another Feed the Piranhas, we're in massive trouble here. We're in massive trouble if I cannot find the that card. It's like just one card in my deck. But I cannot do anything if I don't find it. Everything that I play is completely shut down because of this. I guess I should have gone for the Gruff triplets, to be honest. I was worried about a board wipe, but I should have been worried about them being able to get Elish through before anything. And that would have been a different situation if they weren't able to deal with that. I also should have like baited Elish into like a trade. There's a lot of key mistakes that I made. I did not navigate around the Elish properly. I should have had her like. There's also an argument for like killing her allows them to play another one, so it's not like super clear. But as long as we are like this, we actually are completely shut down. We can't do anything. Like Elish prevents our upon entry effects from triggering. So until we get rid of her, we can't. We have everything in our hand to just pop off like crazy, but we cannot because of Elish. And I think I may very well lose this game because I did not handle Elish properly. So it's pretty much now or never. We need to top deck an answer for her now or never. Nothing else works. It's this card right here. We have 3 copies of it in our deck. So the odds are not in our favor here. But if we draw it, we easily win. Okay, gotta keep that optimism going. This was a winnable game if I approached Elish a little bit differently and I prioritized developing this. Could have been we lost, but this could have been winnable. I just did not play around this properly. I cry every time. That one hurt. Ibai. The streamer? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we keep this. We have Glimpse the Core and Double Clifftop Lookout. Shit. Yeah, that duress hurts. Oh man, come on. This always happens. You have like this really appealing hand and they just duress you. Oh, thankfully, we top deck into a land, and we're gonna keep that land as well. Hope you enjoyed your duress, you asshole. Eaten by piranhas to the bottom of the deck. This music. We're beating the shit out of each other with cards. This music just trolly. I think we're gonna drop Virtue of Knowledge because mono black. What can mono black do against enchantments? The answer is nothing. Once we get them out of our hand and they can no longer be duressed, they have no interaction for that. And we have Eaten by Piranhas. I'm gonna take this hit. And this turn, what I'm gonna do is before the draw phase, I'm gonna apply Eaten by Piranhas. Is why we play this card. Alright, we could. I just want to go another lookout, to be honest. Just get those lands in there. That's what we need. And now we also have blockers. Sheoldred remains on the board. They have no enchantment interaction, so that means they cannot play another Sheoldred. And that just... I mean, they know what's coming. That seems like a, you know, like a premature concede. But they know what's happening there. Like, we're gonna play Gruff Triplets with Virtue of Knowledge, and there's nothing they can do about that. The Sheoldred has been nullified. Like, this against Sheoldred, this is technically better because they cannot play another one after. And we got all the lands, man. And once we drop this, like, it's just so done. It's so fucking done. This deck is fun, man. Like, this is just me. All right, another one. Papa Bear. You playing Badgers, Papa Bear. I'm gonna keep because we got a pretty quick, like, we're looking at a turn 4 Gruff Triplets. I'm gonna lead off with the Yamivaya Coast because I'm gonna be needing those sources of blue mana. I'm gonna be developing a forest now, Glimpse the Core. Search for another forest. That's why we only have 2 copies of this card, you know, because we only have so many forests. And it's like an alternative resource. The Doorport Mage, okay. Okay, I'm gonna develop you into you. Which will allow me to Gruff Triplets very early on. It's frogs. Shit. Shit. We got the air conditioner on. And yeah, dude. Whenever 3 scribe or another creature control leaves the battlefield without dying, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature control. Okay. Okay. Well, don't mind me. I'm gonna send in the triplets. Turn 4 triplets, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we work towards. That's the payoff for all this ramp. You know, ramp decks don't have to be insanely greedy with their curve. You know, they just have to have like, they just have to have the ability to make use of the mana, and that's why we run a full set of 3 steps ahead. This kind of card is like, the more mana we have, the better. You know, like there's never too much mana with this deck, but the curve can also accommodate to like a regular curve as well, and that's the key towards consistency. Okay, they're bouncing. They're bouncing and they're buffing and everything, but I got an army of triplets. And you can bet your ass I'm gonna have the tokens die first. All right, +1/+1 counter on something. I mean, if you attack with this, I'm still blocking into it. Are they not gonna read the gruff triplets? Okay, guys, they do actually read the card. You hate to see that, but they do. I'm gonna play the hedge maze. I don't feel like I need the cliff top lookout at this point. I'm gonna drop you. We have 3 steps ahead, and we have the Dream Drew and Entrancer. I want to go with the Entrancer because I need to draw a card. So I'm going to be targeting my own Pawn Prophet. I'm going to be drawing 2 cards off of that. I could swing, but I'm just going to hold in the back. Like right now, we don't need to go turbo. We have a significant mana advantage over our opponent, and we have a very strong board presence as well. Like they're building up their shit, true. But pure, like, just +1/+1 counters and beefing their stuff is not gonna be enough on its own. I have to, like, you know, put myself in a situation where I have the 3 steps ahead enabled, but right now I just don't feel like this is the turn where I need it, and I was correct. Because I'm so smart, man. I'm smart at this. My mom said so. Bring that back down. Tap out. Just want you to tap out, bro. Come at me. No? Okay, so we're gonna go with you. Again, we need to draw. There it is. There it is. I mean, this is the turn. I would very much like to play this now. But then again, I kind of just don't. Do we need the demolition field? I think right now we have 5. We have potentially 6 mana. 6 mana allows us to do that and draw 2, but that's not really, you know. With 5 mana, we're good. We're gonna play the Vine Stalk now. Just get this out of the way, right? Like I need to be wary of what we're doing here. I need to have the counter spell enabled this turn. I'm gonna drop the Vine Stalk. And I'm going to keep the counter open. I could have dropped the demolition field and have double counter enabled, but I don't think I need double counter. I really don't believe I need double counter this turn. They keep returning stuff. They're building up their board. Like, it's getting bigger and bigger. But again, the triplets. Interesting target. Okay, the one that's already tapped. I'd like to get rid of this because whenever they return something, they keep drawing, so they're not running out of gas. They play another one. I do want to counter that. Draw 2. Drop the Botanical Sanctum. We have 8 mana now. So now with the demolition field, we can actually do this. Watch. We're gonna tap you. Tap you. Virtue of knowledge. I tapped incorrectly. I needed to tap one of the green ones. Now I can't enable a counter. But it's fine. Who needs a counter anyways? Because I'm going to do this. Oh, yeah. Ah, who needs the counter? Ah, you see that combo? Splash Portal onto Gruff Triplets. I really wanted to showcase that. It took me a while with the video, but we got there.